would be different. That's why when we both
Hi,
did it,
and
it came
welcome
through.
to Bridging Civil Tension. Please stand by as we are going to go live on 216 The Net on internet radio. Please like, follow, and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. I don't know why you're talking on my show. Please be quiet in the studio audience. Let's get this. Welcome to Bridging Civil Tension here on 216 The Net. Bridging Civil Tension is the show where we feel it's better to build a bridge than blow one up or have one collapse, perhaps. We don't know. However, host Phil Wallace, author, entrepreneur, just all around good guy. If you need anything done, this guy would probably drop everything he's doing to either laugh at you or help you. Either way. All right. And of course, me, I'm Kent, the old white guy of the show. Here we go. We've got a big day today. Little Brian Flores talk and Whoopee. Is it fair? That's the question today. Is it fair? But some good stuff, I think. The brilliant thing about this show, Phil, right, is that we don't even have to create content. The world
on a weekly basis.
You can't write some of this stuff, right?
Really, it's Monday. We don't have anything. Like, give it by Friday. We're
Something's gonna come in here.
We're good.
And it does. And I want to talk about Brian Flores first because we got a lot of sports fans out there, right? And if you're not familiar with the Brian Flores story, Brian, is he a defensive coordinator or offensive coordinator? He was an assistant coach down in for the Miami Dolphins. And Brian Flores is an African American, and he is brilliant at his job. There is no question. A lot of people questioned his tactics or couth, maybe I could say. He's not a hug you type of a person.
His couth?
Yeah.
Good word.
How about that?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right.
All right, that's what we're doing it. Right?
Well,
that's exemplary.
Right. All right, Scott. Have a good one, brother. But a leading candidate for several of the open jobs in the NFL.
Right.
Okay. Now, let's rewind though a few years ago, maybe what's it been? Maybe 10 years. I don't know exactly when the NFL put this rule in place. If you are a team, you're the owner of a team, you have to interview a minority.
Right. At least one.
At least one before you can
hire
anybody. Okay, with that said, that's probably wrong there, right? Right?
Well, I mean, the fact that I had to get to that is there's something there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now you can go back to last season, maybe November-ish, was it? Where we were talking about Kaepernick's Netflix. Well done. And a slave deal. We talked a lot about the slave deal in the NBA. It ruffled some feathers. So we go back to kind of this going, wait a minute, I have to? You're telling me I have to? It's a rule. So what happens with Flores? Here's what happens with Flores. One of the most talented individuals in the pool. Right. We know this. It's on every sports channel. This guy, wow, what he's done in Miami. When
they do their analysis, no one questions his ability as a coach.
No. And they're excited about perhaps what he can do for teams. And they say that he would be a good fit here. He'd be good.
Right.
And I forget which team he was going to go interview with, but he was on his way to interview for a head coaching position when another head coach who has a good relationship with him is like, wait, you're going where?
Right.
Why are you doing that? They just hired
so-and-so.
They just hired John. right? And he's like, wait, what? He goes, no, I'm going there. Do they want me?
No, they do not. They've hired John.
Yes, they do want you to be the token interview
To check the box.
to check the box. Okay. What? First of all, now Brian is like, you know what? I don't care if literally pissed off with every right he should be.
Right.
Literally is now suing the league, the entire NFL. And of course, you have one side going, well, he's radioactive. This guy will never get a coaching job now. He just ruined it for himself.
Right.
He marched out of line. What? Right?
You said it.
Literally.
You said it. He got
Literally. Right? I think all job applications shouldn't ask for race, color, or ethnicity. Well, I don't think oh, do they? I don't even know.
Yeah.
Oh, do they?
Well,
that's
you
interesting.
You got to state your race, ethnic background, whatever.
My race. It ain't a sprint unless you ask Alice. Never mind.
6.740. Like,
yeah, right. Hey, there was somebody who in the skills. Did you see that? Some dude raced a cheetah or something, or a panther. A real cat. Some big fastest guy in the NFL beat him. Beat the cat. Yeah, I heard it on the radio. I didn't see it, but yeah, interesting. So
that's impressive.
So yeah,
real quick, Nate, they shouldn't. But what Ken's getting at is there's a reason why it happened, because for an allotted period of time, minorities were not coaches at all. So
correct.
As we were educating someone else, that 90% of the players were African Americans, but 0% of management, ownership, anything in a higher level position, that 0% in that degree. So what the NFL said was, hey guys, we have to do something.
No. They were pressed, right, by the NAACP and other organizations saying, why don't you have any minority?
Oh, so they didn't do that off the merit on their own character. They just had to get questioned about.
Back in the day, yes.
I tried. I tried to give them.
Yes, no, they were pressed for that. So that didn't come out of their own volition. That came out of all right, we better do something. So here's what we'll do to soothe and say, okay, any head coaching position out there, coaching, you have to at least just one.
Right.
We don't care if they want to coach or don't want to coach. We just need them to check the box.
You don't have to give them the position. Just say that one of them interviewed.
Check the box.
Check the box.
Okay. So this is what happens. Brian Flores, one of the most talented individuals in the coaching pool today, says, you know what? He's 40 years old. He's a young guy. Right? I don't care if I never coach again. I'm going after the league. And the bottom line is this. If I create change, then hallelujah. But you know what? This is BS.
Mm-hmm.
So at first I go, here's a black guy. He's upset he didn't get the job, and he's going to sue the NFL because he's black.
Right.
First thing that runs through my white mind. Honest to God. Right? Now, what you're going to find out about this show as well, I'm not afraid to tell you how I learn things.
Yeah, and that's big of you. Some people are still stuck in their ways and won't ever admit that.
Right. And I know that I'm not the only one in the world or in the United States that think this way. So I have to be able to, on this show, say, this is the first thing that runs through my mind.
Not at McHenry.
And then somebody goes, no. Right. It is because they hired somebody already, and they were still making, I guess, him come spend his time, money, energy to interview for something that's already been given to a white guy. Right?
So much joy came that you said that age so aggressively.
White. And he's like, wait, what? I've become a box check.
Right.
What? Hey, Gary, good evening. I hope you had a great Friday over there. Right. Ours is just juicing up here.
Just starting.
Okay, so This is wrong on a lot of levels. And here's the sad thing, and I'm just going to tell you this because, again, this is how my mind thinks. We're going to pick up the rug. Hey, Brian, that's great. That's cute. We're NFL, got some high-powered attorneys and a lot of money. We're just going to sweep this under the rug.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to make you feel good, and it's going to go away. Okay?
You remember when we did the show about the coach who sent the emails?
Yes, yes.
How much press do you remember about the verdict and how all that turned out?
I haven't heard a thing. Have you?
Remember when
he retired.
You remember what I told you?
Yep.
Keep track of it because you're
Yep.
not going to hear too much about it.
Yes, yeah. That is the football coach saga. Yes, it is. All right. So good for you. You're going to make a little noise. We're going to put some oil on it, and you're going to go away. Right? The NFL is a understand what I'm about to say, $1 billion organization. Follow the money. Oh, Colin. You didn't march in line either. How's that working for you?
Right.
How's your NFL career going for you?
Right.
It's not?
So
Uh-oh.
much.
Uh-oh.
Right.
Now, not only that, but I mean, we can go back to 1985 because most people in Chicago love 1985. That's when the Bears won it, right? And we had Jim McMahon, who, he screwed the commissioner on his headband and things like that, right? As a statement. And we praised him and loved him, and he became the quirky McMahon. Oh, he's a rebel. Oh, we love him, right? How many people out there listening to this show on the airways, or the millions of listeners we have, are going, Brian's an idiot. He just shot himself in the foot. He was brilliant. He'll never get a coaching, even in high school.
Right. He's done.
He's done. Not saying that he's brilliant, which he obviously is. But how many of us out there are going, idiot, he had the world by the tail.
Right.
And now he's 40. Why didn't he just go, oh, okay, I guess I didn't get that job. I wasn't the man for that job. Right?
Right.
Oh, you were the man for that job. You were the man.
You were the black man at the job.
To check the box so I could turn my paperwork in to the league to say, oh, yes, Brian Flores. We did meet with him.
Right. But when we had a conversation, we were talking about the banking industry, and someone said that, I didn't think that this was okay, but I do know that my manager would allow this type of thing to happen against minorities.
Yeah.
And we talked about how
I think Nate brought it up.
I think it was Nate.
Yeah.
Right. And we were talking about how some people were saying that it doesn't still happen.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
2022.
This still happens. And it's, no. Well, affirmative action. No, you have to have things like that because otherwise they're not just on their good merits allowing black coaches to take over.
Hey, Drew, praying for you, brother.
What's up, Drew?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm late. You're always welcome. You're always on time with us, man.
That's it. All right. So, okay. At what point do NFL fans, what point do NFL owners, what point does the NFL as a league go, yeah, this is really effed up. This whole thing is effed up. Should that owner of that, and I don't even know what team, should that owner have to sell his team now? Should he be canceled? That quiet is, we're contemplating that because that's what I've heard. I've heard some fireback going, that guy needs to be, he has to sell his team.
Oh, okay, for instance, and
or girl, I don't know who owns it. Right?
For instance, and this is, he's a good person, and I'm not saying he's anything like this, so I'm not talking, but just for the comparison, if you remove Mark Cuban from the Mavs, is he broke?
Nope.
So most of these guys, this is something that they did with side money anyway. So
right.
I mean, if you remove him,
usually owning a football, usually owning any professional sport is a losing. It's really a tax shelter. You don't make a lot of money as an owner of a team, right? Because
you have money coming from elsewhere. Right. So I don't think that like I see the intention of that, but I don't think it does what most people think it would do. Right? It's not going to be like a financial burden or hindrance or like, oh shoot, I had half my salary taken away from me, or like a Colin Kaepernick where like that was his source of income.
Huh?
Now it's drastically decreased.
Well, I don't know. He's
from NFL money to just a Netflix episode. Yeah, it's a hit.
Well, but he probably has. Colin's a brilliant guy. I mean, I think he'll leverage that to probably make more money and not have to walk around drooling on himself from concussions. But
Yeah, but if you
Right.
look at NFL contracts
Yeah.
plus potential sneaker deals and stuff,
Sure,
like
sure,
that,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
Jersey
yeah.
said like
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
you took a hit.
you did, yeah.
So
And at
that
one
would-
time, he was the quarterback everybody wanted to be.
all of a sudden 49er jerseys were
Yeah.
doing number 7s and
Flying out, yeah.
right.
Mhm.
So I don't know if the owner being removed from that position is going to really make a difference.
Doesn't make a dent in him.
Now he, instead of Skybox, he watches from his island.
Yeah, or right, exactly. Andrew says, as the facts come out, I think it is a real likely penalty. To have to sell. Okay, yeah.
Nice.
Unless you are Wirtz from the Chicago Blackhawks with his Vegas money. Yeah, right. So, the Brian Flores thing is going to be interesting to see how it unfolds. Now, I want you to keep in mind too, folks, is that he has interviewed with the New Orleans Saints, and he has great ties to the general manager down at the Texans, and he's got an interview there as well, right? Okay, so let's jump on to the white side of the coin if we can for just a moment. You get picked up by one of those teams.
Okay.
And you got hired because I was scared of the repercussions. That's what white people are going to say.
Right.
You got hired because I was afraid that if I didn't, I would also lose my. Right.
But like, then you're discrediting this person's skill set.
I get it.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you.
What's going to be said? It's going to be said.
I've got to
the
be.
only reason why
Listen,
he's here.
I've got to be as real as I can because these are thoughts that will go through my head too, being a white guy. Oh yeah, okay. You're going to hire him because of that. Oh, that's because he cried, or you scared. But at the same time,
especially if they don't win.
I don't say that tongue in cheek, but what I say is that's going through people's heads, right?
If they don't win,
he didn't get hired based on his merits. That's what a lot of people are going to say, right? Nate says, what people would always tell me Chicago Bears would never see a black QB because of ownership. It was becoming a big deal, but then the Bears drafted Justin Fields, super talented, but weird hearing rumors like that. And then boom. Yeah, let's go after the lightest skinned brother we can get. Never mind. I'm sorry. Would I say that out loud? All right. Let's. All right. Andrew says, yes, I support the sale. They should force sell these losing franchise to #Bears. Yeah, right. Yeah. You want to talk about systemic? Never mind.
Nice jab.
Wow.
I like it.
Steph, good morning. How are you?
Send stuff on the way in.
There you go. Nice. All the way down the hall. So here's the deal. Here's where you have to become upset if you're just a good human being. Number one is, and I felt this way for many years, this interview a minority,
right?
At least one, is the biggest BS rule, whatever. If you're forced to do, you know what I mean? If you're forced to do that,
right,
then, what happens? I'm sitting here with Lovey Smith and go, holy shit, this guy, he knows what he's talking about. Let's give him a chance. Right. Or am I looking at his book of work and whatnot. Right. And saying, you know what? I'm going after that guy. I mean, you had to have been going after this guy. Brian Flores is brilliant at what he's done down in Miami. Brilliant. Why aren't you chasing after him? Right. Instead, well, Jeremy came in and we had a great conversation. And well, me and Jeremy, let's bring him in. He fits the mold. We think he's going to do well. I don't know. I'm just saying that, right?
I mean, the move, although like it's appreciated, cool. At least interview one to at least check the box, and it has led to some coaches.
So
hold on, but they're not trying to attack the bigger problem. And it's more so the comfort of, look, we know this is effed up here. We know that this is a messed up situation. We know that we don't hire blacks here. Let's make a solution of checking the box versus actually figure out why we don't hire black coaches. Address the fact that we don't hire black coaches, why we never want to hire black coaches, and why it is just minority white people up here. They don't want to voice that.
Right.
They want to do like the least amount of changes possible to appease the masses. And we've allowed that in a lot of other situations.
Yeah.
And we're allowing it here.
Yeah. And now keep in mind, I mean, and ladies, buckle up, because you can do the same thing. Because now there's some female coaches in the NFL, special, right? Offensive coordinators, receiving coordinators. There's some very, very talented females, but guess what's going to happen now? Oh, you did it for the blacks. You got to do it for the women. Oh, then you got to do it for the black women.
But here we've had this conversation before.
Right.
When we don't support in some areas, and then all of a sudden it's going to be a woman coach in the same situation.
Yeah.
And then local people, I'll say it that way, will be like, well, where's the outrage that she didn't get the job? You told us to stop complaining. You told us to stop whining.
Yeah.
You said we were playing the victim. You understand when this door opens, you can walk through it too.
Right.
So stop trying to keep the door closed. Put a shoulder in. Help out.
Stick a foot in there. Right?
Do something. Knock, at least.
Yeah. Nate says a lot of NFL management should just sit down and have a movie night. Watch Remember the Titans. Maybe they'll learn something. Yeah, probably. Right. Stephanie, Phil should talk about what he and I were chatting about in the green room before the show. There is a show called Below Deck, and one of the black crew members said the N-word, and then one of the other white members said the N-word as well. Phil can finish the story.
Yeah, that's going to tie more for the Whoopee part. But like what she was saying is on the show, one of the black crew members said the N-word. White crew member was like, oh.
So all of the people who are new to Bridging Civil Tension, the N-word is Norwegian.
Yes.
And sorry for all you Norwegian people out there. I know it's offensive.
It's just whenever I get called a Norwegian, it gets under my skin.
Girls up under my skin. I use a what? Yeah.
But she was talking about how they're, making Whoopi sit out, but they didn't make this white person who said the N-word on her television show sit out.
Ah.
And so there was another situation.
So they're making the white person that got a timeout then.
No, they didn't get a timeout.
Oh, that white person didn't get a timeout.
Like you said the N-word and you stayed on the show.
All right, so you said it and I said it. I stayed on the show. You didn't?
I stayed on the show, but like
we both stayed on the show.
Both stayed on the show.
Okay.
In another situation, a person said something degrading about like gays or something like that.
Yeah.
And he was clipped and cropped out.
Gotta go.
Everything. Like for 5
cancel
episodes,
culture.
What she said for 5 episodes, you didn't even see this person.
Yeah.
But it's both, so you didn't go nowhere.
Right.
But you can say the N-word and be right back.
Interesting. Yeah. They didn't just throw him overboard. Man overboard. Right. I thought the N-word was Neapolitan ice cream. Yeah, well, it depends on.
I love me some.
I love me some
Neapolitan, of course.
Right.
Duh.
Right. So I applaud Brian. I mean, I'm frustrated and upset in 2022 it has to come to something like this. But I applaud him because he was like, screw it. I don't care if this ruins my entire life.
Right.
If it and that's what he said. I don't care if I never coach again. If it creates change in this league and makes this league do things differently, then it's well worth it.
Right.
That takes huge cojones.
When we did the slave deal show,
yeah,
we talked about how symptoms of a plantation, you can work on one,
yeah,
but you can't complain about it.
Right.
You can't let people know that that's what it is.
Mm.
This is a place of employment. No, this is a plantation because only certain people are allowed in the house.
Yeah.
And if you identify it, understand they'll remove you from the plantation entirely.
Yeah.
And that's why he's like, I know that I won't have a job here no more.
Yeah, here's another, and somebody helped me out with this. Somebody who's much smarter than I helped me out with this. Literally was talking with somebody this week, and they said, wait 1 cotton picking minute. and I'm like, what? And then I was like, I wonder where that phrase came from.
Don't do that.
I was just like, you just said, wait 1 cotton picking minute.
You don't want to know.
I was actually having a conversation with Bugs Bunny and Yosemite Sam at that point. I don't know.
What are the 1960s were you talking to?
Just like it threw me so much I couldn't even respond. And then I had to think about it the rest of the day. And obviously it's been in my mind, like, why would any
Like a 70s sitcom verbiage. What in the
I look around for Fred Sanford. Where are we at? All right. I don't know. It's
time
crazy.
hoppers?
All right. So I applaud him. I hope that he, and we know it's probably not going to happen. I hope that he takes him down and changes history
Right.
in that league, because truthfully, the bottom line is that makes more money than any other NBA or Major League Baseball. I mean, it's a multi, and usually what happens in the NFL bleeds
Overflows.
out, right?
Yeah.
So I truly hope that they don't try to just sweep it under the rug. I hope that what he's chasing for creates change.
I think the fact that most people go to he just shot himself in the foot, he'll never work again, versus why is that the case?
Right.
Right? Why is it that if you speak up about something that's clearly wrong, you'll never work in that industry and we're cool about it?
Yeah.
I think that we need to change how we look at that situation, or at least ask ourselves how we got to this point and why we're comfortable. That being the policy that if you speak up about something that's clearly a problem, you're done.
You're done. You're done. Andrew says cotton fields in Norway.
Yeah.
Just for a cotton pick a minute.
It's a golden. Not
Right. So I mean, I know there's a lot of people who look like me and think ways, and that's why I've said what I said.
Right.
But you have to be, one of my rules for success. I stole it from Kobe Bryant, so it's his 10 rules of success.
I was like, we need to write this, bro. Like, we're even hiding this. Let's expand.
No,
okay, cool.
that's
right.
Kobe's 10 rules for success. I just put rules for success on it. I stole it from him. Is practice what I say, practice mindfulness. You have to kind of be in the moment, and you have to understand that what's happening, and we have to start going, this is wrong. If you practice mindfulness, you stop going, he's just upset he didn't get the job.
Right.
It's not what he's upset about. He's got a job. It's not like I don't think they fired him. The Miami. I think he's got a job. I don't know. Anyway, right? But the idea is, we have to stop having that moment go through our head. Go, oh, here's another black guy upset he didn't get a job, and he's gonna sue the league now. I mean, we have to practice mindfulness for a minute and just go, that's wrong.
But we don't.
Right.
And we're cool with making that assumption every time, versus realize, man, this is a heck of a coincidence.
Whistleblower protection. Actually, the refs run off the field afterwards. Yeah.
After the games.
Right after the games. They don't stick around.
They're
the first ones out. They Fred Flintstone that. Right. I'm out of here. Which is good. All right. So you're listening.
Some people though, Andrew. It doesn't protect everybody.
You're listening, of course, to 21.6 Net. This is Bridging Civil Tension with Phil Wallace and Kent Jones. And here's the bottom line, folks. And we're going to shift gears now. And we're going to go to our good friend Whoopi Goldberg. Okay. Now, Whoopi Goldberg, over this past week, she was asked to take a 2-week break from her show that she's on, right? To reflect. Okay. Now, for those of you who don't know, Whoopi Goldberg said that the Holocaust was not racist, right? It was, and I'm trying to find the quote. It was white people being inhumane to white people, or something of that nature. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And she said that it had nothing to do with race. And the big outcry comes, and actually one of the people on that show go, wait a minute, this was white supremacy. This is exactly white supremacy.
Right.
And that
went back and forth, and that's when she said
yeah. Right. So what's your take on that?
To quote the author from Woke Racism, although her comment was in poor taste, not something that I would say. I think that the way that history is taught aligns with what she said. If I were to ask you, who killed who in the Holocaust?
Yeah, Hitler killed the
Nazis
Jews.
killed Jews.
Yeah.
No one says Romas. No one says gays. No one says Afro-Germans. I didn't even know they had an Afro in Germany. No one says that. Now we're saying to this individual, well, you're being insensitive to the Afro-Germans who were killed in the Holocaust. They were there too. Now, me and you know that with a little bit of research, yeah, the Assyrians, and if you weren't blonde hair, blue eyes, you were on the hit list and he was going after everybody, blah, blah, blah. But we don't teach the whole story. We teach Nazis, Jews, which is aligns with what she said.
Yeah.
Now, if there was a critical way of teaching history that would educate people on the races that played a part in that, this could be avoided.
Yeah.
Now, in theory, the way that we teach history does that. Apparently, it does not.
Yeah.
So I can't fault her for making a statement that reflects the way that history is taught. But I do think it was in poor taste. I don't think that she took the whole thing into consideration.
Okay.
But I do feel that it's hypocritical for a person to say, you're not recognizing the people who played a part that we didn't recognize all these years as we taught you history in class.
Okay. It was an ideology of Nazism that persecuted the Jews, is what both play. Actually, if you Mein Kampf, actually he states that it's racist.
Yeah.
In Hitler's writing, he does say it's.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, me and you understand that he like the Jesse Owens post, right? When he's like this, history class teaches this guy was on this podium holding a fist. Yeah. And somewhere over here was this horrible person in Germany that was killing Jews. No, this dude wouldn't shake this guy's hand because this dude is a racist. Tell the whole story. Okay. Put it all together.
So even though and Andrew says define race, please. Is Nazi a race? Okay. I'd have to read what the definition of Nazi is before I answered that, right?
I think Assyrian is, though.
Yeah.
Where he's saying the blonde hair, blue eyes. But to that standpoint, no.
Aryan nation,
but
right?
Aryan nation is. But Aryans make up the Nazis. But
so the and in his own writing, he says it's a racial. Yeah. I mean, you can read Mein Kampf in the first few pages. He does say that this is a racial thing. To which then Whoopi Goldberg went on the Tonight Show or the Late Show or something like that, or one of those shows, one of those talk shows, and where she tried to apologize. Said, "Listen, race is this. I should be able to look at you and know what race you are. The color of your skin tells me what race you are." Okay, listen, when you hit the bottom, stop shoveling. Right? And now I'm like, oh boy, did she just say that? Right? So very close-minded. We'll be very, and she's trying to play the black and white. I get it, right? Yeah, the word Jew can be defined in the context of a race or religion. Right. Okay. So here's the deal. The bottom line deal is this: 2-week vacation to contemplate what she said. I'm telling you, if she was white, she's gone. No chance in hell, gone. Right? Now
how?
Let me help you. Right? A lot of public figures have been held accountable for offensive actions and words. Late night talk show host Jimmy Fallon apologized after a blackface sketch from his early Saturday Night Live. So this was way before. Had to apologize for that. He didn't get fired, right? Alex Campotherkis from Siesta Key was let go, right? Allegedly put some things out, and this was, I don't know, June 16th or whatever, put racist social media out there from a post in 2013.
Right.
White guy gone from 2013. Okay. And here's this gal who puts it out there and says, hey, I should be able to look at you. That's why it's just white people be doing white people stuff. That comment in itself is racist. Right? You don't think so?
So the one part I was talking about was if she's stating what history has taught us,
Yep.
And that's how it looks.
Yep.
And on the flip side, we've been doing this for how long? Like a year and a half?
Yeah, a little lower.
2,
yeah,
right?
Close to 2 years. Yeah.
So I'm kind of confused. I don't know how else to word this, but I'm watching if Whoopi Goldberg talks about the Holocaust the way people in McHenry talk about crime in Chicago.
Yep.
Then it's a problem. Because if it's the whites killing whites, how dare you? But if it's the blacks killing blacks in Chicago, that's said openly every day.
I get it. I didn't say I agree with that either.
That's said open. That's the crime in LA, this in Detroit. That's the blacks on the. So we're able to do that daily.
No.
Daily. We're able to say this.
It happens, yes, but you got to believe that if I said, "Hey, that's just black people being black people on black people."
So Fox News doesn't talk about black on black crime.
Oh, I don't know because I don't watch Fox News, right? I'm just saying.
To take an educated
Yeah,
guess,
if I take an educated guess, yeah, right.
But what I'm saying is, so it's cool for people in other. Well,
I don't think so.
They're all terrorists.
I don't think it's cool for that, right? But
you don't think it's cool for what I'm saying is,
right.
I watch a lot of people either on television or I've walked. We've 99.
Mm-hmm.
I've been here since 98. I haven't seen a single person in McHenry County on a 2-week timeout anywhere. For saying the same thing that Whoopi Goldberg said.
No, I get it,
When
but we've seen people get fired for things they did back in 2013. But
I'm saying, as far as this statement goes, if
right.
we're going to say, like, people are saying, "Oh, well, what about the Romans? What about the Afro Germans? She's totally neglecting." No one talks about crime in Chicago as far as the kids at Northwestern who are peddling opioids that are killing lots of people. No one talks about Italians or the mob, or they talk about corrupted. It's just the blacks killing blacks.
Yeah.
So it's bad if we do that over here, while we'll do this to other people and say the exact same thing to other people openly all the time. So if people are confident and comfortable saying that crime in Chicago is just blacks killing blacks, then they need to go on timeout. And I haven't seen a single person on my buddy list.
No, they get fired.
No, they do not. Everyone,
they get canceled.
Everyone
Cancel
who
culture.
Inboxes you who says that crime in Chicago is blacks killing blacks gets fired.
I understand.
And you know where
I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
No, they don't.
Not everybody, but
no, they do not.
how many African Americans or people of minority that have put a racial statement out have gotten let go? I don't know.
They write an apology they don't mean, and they're reinstated. We've talked about this.
Well, I understand, but fair is fair, right? I'm not a big Whoopi Goldberg fan to begin with. I didn't even like Sister Nun or whatever she was. Right?
Sister Act. So I feel like that was a malfunction thing. I feel like that was a wardrobe malfunction. Whoopi thought that she could be brown skinned with dread and glasses and say that it was white people killing white people. However, what she needed in her wardrobe was orange hair, blue suit, white button up, and a red tie. Then she could say whatever she wants to about race. And you're taking it out of context, or why are you being so sensitive? Or you just don't understand who this person is, or F your feelings 2024. And it's fine to say those type of statements and not get fired.
Well,
or anything.
Twice. He got fired twice, right?
And stayed in office the entire time.
The person wearing that outfit was
and stayed in office the entire time. I'm sitting here watching where you could run a country and say stuff like that. And not even have a timeout.
Yeah. Well, he did. He
did not have a timeout.
He was impeached twice, right? I mean,
when did it
he's
cease?
the only president to ever be impeached twice. I'm just saying, right? So the interesting thing is that I see, and again, whether you think I believe it or I don't believe it, I'm just saying what I feel a lot of people are saying to themselves right now is unfair. We can pull up all the white people who have been let go for acts that were done 10, 15 years ago.
And you can. So
right?
just look, and you can. And another group can pull up people who show you the fake apology and nothing happened when they said more offensive things. And then we could also show you, give it a week. Well, you'll hear a person say that's just the blacks killing the blacks in Chicago. And then all I'm saying is ask yourself, are you just as upset when you hear it's the blacks killing the black?
Yeah.
The listeners.
Right. Okay.
Are you just as upset when you hear it's the blacks killing blacks in Chicago, as if the only people killing the only people are just
All right,
these
yeah,
two?
more white people kill
Because
more white
that's-
people in the world,
That's
right?
just as ignorant
Yeah.
as Whoopee's statement.
Right.
So if this is ignorance over here, this is also ignorance.
I get it.
But what we'll act like is this is just the way it. These are just the numbers, Phil. That's what I'm told. But this is horrible. Looks equal to me. And I'm told this to my face.
Oh, sure.
In the comment section.
Sure.
So no one in the comment section had a timeout either.
Well, no, but you know, and by the comments coming in, I can tell nobody wants a timeout.
But like this is like, you know what I mean? Like I
Right.
I see exactly what you're saying,
Right.
right? And I'm like, man,
I understand.
You can't say that. You can't. But then at the same time, like, man,
Everything is justifiable.
doesn't make it right though.
Does not make it
Right.
right,
So-
and we have to understand that.
Yeah. So, and I'm completely to make sure that the statement is said.
Yeah.
I don't agree with what she said.
Sure.
Right. But I don't agree when this is said on a date. Like if I hear crime in Chicago, blacks versus Nazis and Jews, whites being whites. I hear this all
Well,
the time.
and there's a certain sect too who's trying to say the Holocaust never happened, right? I mean, we know that too. So
Right.
you have to be upset with that.
But show me a time in a Holocaust museum where you see a German African.
right now,
You don't.
and here's what I want people to understand. I want you to understand this because I own a media station, right? I own this station. I say things on shows and play parts on shows to irritate the piss out of people and to get listeners. That's my job.
Right.
Right. So I can understand, especially on that show, which is very out there,
Yeah.
would be on your right side, my left side, as we look at each other. Right. It's way out there.
Right.
There's this group of this band of women around this table, and they call it,
Think the view.
yeah, is a very edgy, push the envelope,
Right.
but they have a huge following, right? And so that show does what it's supposed to do, right? And I will say, I know a lot of people who think Rush Limbaugh was brilliant, and I laugh and I go, he was an entertainer, and he pandered to people who paid him millions.
Right.
That's good in my business.
Right.
Well played, sir.
Yeah.
Right. Whether he thought that or not, who knows?
He played the role.
He played the role, and people thought, "Oh, brilliant, right?"
Right.
Bill Maher, right? He's got a show on at and was for years hard against the right side of the game,
Right.
And now things start to slide, and he's starting to be hard on the left side, and people are like, "Wait, what? You flip flopping?"
Yeah.
No. Guess who's angry? Guess who's going to tune in? I'm playing this role. So I understand. So what she said, I can look at and go, I'm an idiot. Right? The big issue that I have, not necessarily that she felt that it was just human people being inhumane to each other is ugly. Whatever color skin it was,
Right.
whatever race it was. The bottom line is on the apology. I should be able to tell race by what I see. There's where I have the issue. There's where I have a big issue, right? Because I'm African American, but I'm South African, and I'm as white as I am.
Right.
You can't what? Oh, you're a white guy,
I'm Scottish.
right? I mean, you understand what I'm saying? So the interesting thing is that irritated me more, perhaps. Yeah. I can understand what she says on the show to push the envelope, to irritate, to get, and the more, and listen, you have to understand the complexity of what we do. The more comments, the more things that are out there on social media, man, that's marketing. It's brilliant, right? But then, go ahead. It was, to me, I'm just like, wow, no.
So I see a horrible apology.
Yeah.
I see a lot of I don't mean anything in this apology. From
Yeah,
my corporations,
I would
that
agree.
mess up.
I would agree.
And I watch, I'll say it this way, governmental officials who don't apologize at all.
Mm.
And you're
On a daily basis.
And you're sensitive for being offended off the same type of caliber of comment.
Yep.
And for 4 years, I don't have to apologize for saying the same type of stuff. But now we're going to say, skip this, skip this. This apology was horrible. Well, it's better than a non-heartfelt and insincere.
Yeah, but people took him off of Twitter, right? I mean, where he was trying to communicate. Yes, he had the grandstand, right? But that people took him off of those social media presences because of that. They're like, you know what? No, this isn't good. So you're done.
8-minute quarters. I sat you the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. Would you feel like you didn't play that game?
Hey, you weren't in when it counted, maybe. Right, and obviously, it obviously shows that he wasn't in where it counted because he's not in.
If you did, Ken, answer the question. If you didn't play the last 2 minutes, would you play the rest of the game? Would you feel like you sat out?
Absolutely. If I was winning the whole game and in the last 2 minutes I lost.
All right, Ken.
Right. So, right. I mean,
we sat out.
Right. I wasn't in the game when it needed to be.
He had a mute phase where you just didn't hear from him. That's what happened.
Oh no, I didn't say that. I said people held him accountable by taking him off of platforms.
And he still didn't have a voice. He couldn't have a media.
I didn't say that.
But I'm saying the whole point is being silent. So if you could take me off of Twitter, but I can say, hey, I want a media conference.
See, but here's the issue too. And I ask people this all the time. Why does this man still take up so much space in people's heads?
No. It's not about taking up space in my head.
I'm not saying he's taking up in yours. I say he still does.
I'm making a statement though. If he can get taken off of Twitter and then have a press conference that night, we didn't remove him. So there was no sit out time. And he can say the same thing we're upset about. And you're sensitive if you get offended by this.
No, I would say there was. I would say there's. I mean, how many of his press conferences did you tune into?
None.
I did too. 0.
No.
Right. So how many people get their news and information from these social media outlets? A lot. Right. And how many people follow him? Are all of his followers?
I'll say this. Before he started, and me and you had this conversation in Panera, there was 4 conferences that I did watch, 4 press conferences I did watch. 3 of the 4, I was like, did he really just say that about minorities?
Yeah.
And that is why.
Or did he do that against handicapped people? Right. I get it.
Any type of offensive statement that we're now saying someone needs to sit out for making that caliber of statement, which, okay, is terrible, but no one made him sit out and he never apologized. So I can say, if you don't like it, you should go back to wherever and never apologize. And everyone's cool with this. But she needs to step her game up.
A lot of people are cool with this. Not everyone.
A lot of people are on the basis of you're sensitive. He shouldn't have to. You took it out of context. Okay, well, I watched the next one. Okay, well, I watched the next one. Right. Okay, well, there's the next one. Well, shoot. Maybe it's not out of context. This dude is that's just who he seems to, at least the character that he portrays.
I get it.
So,
but again,
have to understand. But if we're waiting on apologies and we're watching see people not apologize,
but if we're talking about change, right? Yes, we can look at the bloody, ugly history of America and how horribly it's treated.
It's not history; it's today, Kent.
No, stay with me. Is how horrible and bloody it is, and how we've mistreated individuals, races, ethnicities, people from other countries, the whole works.
Right.
I mean, we put people in cages after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, and recently. Right. So interesting, right? And if it fits our agenda, we're happy with it, and if it doesn't, we go, wait a minute, let's take a look at that, and then it goes away. Right. To whatever the narrative may be. But what I'm saying is, if we're going to create change, we can't keep going back to, but back here on both sides of this, right? Yeah. We have to say, okay, let's take a look here, and wow, how does that create change? Right. And I can't compare. I can't, and being mindfulness means being present. I can't compare what anybody else said. I got to take the words out of Whoopee's mouth and what she said, and here's what happened, and here's how I feel, right? I can't say it's okay because of this back here, right? I want this to change. how do I change it today and move forward?
Right.
Okay. So what a lot of what a lot of companies in media have done, and again, a lot of companies, I mean, even BET is owned by white people, right? So I mean, white owned. As soon
You
as
can't say that though. They fired Nick Cannon for it.
yeah, I understand. Yeah, right. Don't take it. These and listen. These are our opinions. Listen, we're not trying to we're not trying to send misinformation. This is two guys trying to bridge right civil tension, because we know that there's civil tension out there, and we know that there are people blowing up because of it.
Both sides,
right? And that's it. But again, how do we move forward, right? So there's a lot of people with my melatonin that are going 2 weeks. She should be canceled. I'm just right,
and that's true,
right?
And what I'm saying is, there's a lot of people with mine who are like, bruh, do you understand what is said openly on a consistent basis? And even I'll say this. My focus isn't even necessarily this is what happened in the past. Cool, past is the past. The problem is I can say wholeheartedly there'll be another instance in the next 2 weeks.
Oh, sure.
And in the next 2 weeks, when that one happens,
yeah,
I'll be told I'm being sensitive. It's not that big a deal. It was taken out of context, blah, 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 blah.
That's right.
And I'm like, but y'all were just so irate about Whoopee.
Right.
And then I'll be told, well, don't bring up old stuff.
I understand, but that's what I'm saying. That's if we truly want to bridge the civil tension, we've got to say, how do we fix it?
Yeah.
How do we move forward?
But that's what I'm saying. We have to say, okay, screw the past. This is the standard of if this happens, it's bad, black or white.
Yep.
We can't say out of context, horrible.
Yep.
That's never going to work if we're trying to bridge.
Never.
However, that's our current situation.
Shannon says it can only be racist if it's a person of color who is in focus. What's that say? Intersectional or something. She should not be canceled. None of these humans should be canceled. What about is not a reasonable support for any position? Who decides? What's the solution? As a woman, I have been discriminated against. As a woman, I am given more consideration because of the box being checked. Why is one person's experience more worthy? That's good.
Hold on.
Yeah, go back.
So if we're going to talk about Whoopee's statement, it can only be racist if a person of color is the focus. The whole conversation and how is people not of color,
right?
And it's racist,
right?
But go ahead.
Yeah. So Gary says it well. To Whoopee, based on my skin color, she'll lump it all as Chinese instead of the differences between Chinese, Japanese, Korean, etc. Well, there's a difference. I'm just kidding, folks. Don't turn off the station. I'm tired of people being forced to apologize. It's an oxymoron. Yeah, and that's what Phil's saying. An apology. You did what your press secretary or your press person said to do. Here's what we got to do to put this
I dressed in blackface and poor taste. I didn't know that would offend my African American friends. It is my sincere apology. I made this post. I was upset. And I'm so you don't care,
right? Right.
Someone wrote this for you.
Misplaced hate mixed disgrace to races. Anti-defamation. Yeah. That's white. That's white adjacent. And hey, gentlemen. Hey, Scott. All right. So, but here again, and let's kind of put a nice bow around this show, right? And again, you all have to understand. I absolutely love Phil with my entire. He's one of my family, right? We are brothers through and through. And you know, before we leave a studio today, we hug and we talk about the future and things of that nature. And like we said, we don't even have to try to have writers for this show. It's just brilliant what the world gives us. But here's what I am telling. And if you've heard what I've said throughout the whole show, is in one situation, okay, many people with my melatonin are going, here's an African American upset he didn't get the job,
right,
and he's suing the league. Okay. Well, that's interesting. But we don't say that he's highly qualified and he's just there to check a box.
Right.
The same people at the same breath go, here's an African American saying crap about race who's not fired. Connect the dots, folks. Understand what you're saying on both sides. And that is what Phil has been saying. Why is it okay and not okay?
Right.
And you have to understand that position is perhaps not okay, right? Right? So if you are somebody out there listening who's had those go through your mind, it's not that you're strange. Maybe you're starting to go, let me be mindful for a minute and see what's happening. Okay. The issue is a lot of people jump to conclusions like I did, not knowing that Mr. Flores came up and said this.
Right.
Many of you are upset with Whoopee for what she said on the air, not understanding about her apology, quote unquote, or whatever. And to me, it wasn't even about the apology, or it wasn't about what she said, because I get that. That's good television. That's good programming. Well, we don't know, right? If she was reading a teleprompter or whatever, right?
Right.
So here's the issue. The issue is you have to be able to go, what am I saying to myself, and why am I upset or not upset? And if I'm over there, how do I feel? And that's what we don't do.
Right.
I don't, I talk to a lot of people about this show throughout the week. And a lot of sometimes what I bring up are not my own thoughts, but I make them feel like they're my own thoughts. Right. Some of them are, because I'm a 53-year-old white guy who grew up in Iowa who now goes, why am I thinking that way?
Right.
Interesting. Right. To your point, I don't know, Whoopee's probably in her 60s, I'm going to guess. Right. What was her education about that? Not making excuses.
Yeah.
How were you educated on that? And you're right.
Who
Nazis. And tell me about your 1970s or 1980s education where it talked about Afro-Germans
and the Romas.
I had to look that up. I'm like, Aromas? I thought that was a pizza. Right?
Trying not to get the Roma.
Right. So when and words have meanings, right? And what we say sometimes makes no sense. But understand, if you've been pushed a little bit or irritated a little bit, good. Right. But how do we move forward? How do we say, okay, all right, yeah, you know what? Good. Yeah. Again, Whoopee's she got a lot of money. 2 weeks unpaid. Right.
Good.
Right.
I don't have to do the show.
But I can probably, I don't know her personally, but I can probably tell you that she probably sitting there going, yeah, that came out wrong. Right. Whether her apology was, from the heart or whatever, but if she's a decent lady who has seen a lot in her life as an African American and has seen a lot of discrimination as an African American, as an African American lady, as an African American actor in a very, very white Hollywood, right? So, and sometimes in a conversation, even if it's on air, you bubble over. Oh, that's just part of being a human. And all of a sudden, it's like, here it is, and that could just be years and years. And I don't agree. I don't agree with what she said. I understand, and it is what it is. Guess what? She's off for 2 weeks. Right now, what does that do to the ratings of that show?
How many people Googled The View now because of that? Exactly.
What are sponsors? How many did we lose? How many did we gain? Right. And we'll never really know, right? Unless they come out and go, well, hi, all temperature. We're out of here because Whoopee said.
Due to the statements of Whoopee Gold.
Right. No. We're pulling, right? So it is. You have the right to do that in a free society in America, right? So, but what I'm trying to say is, if you're having those conversations, then you ask yourself, why am I having those conversations in my head? And if I'm having those conversations out loud,
right?
No, that's a difference.
Passionately.
There's different questions there, right?
Right. Nate, yes, LeBron has a lot of those apologies, not half as many as the corporations or the people who tell him to shut up and dribble. They don't apologize at all.
Listen. Here, stop comparing LeBron to other sports figures. LeBron is LeBron. He's a brilliant man. He is. He actually makes more money off the court with his businesses.
Right.
He gives back to so many. He creates schools. He creates schools
and pays for college tuitions.
But because someone who wore the number 23 back in the 80s and 90s was silent on everything,
right?
We now think that LeBron shouldn't be LeBron. He should follow in the footsteps of this incredible guy who was very silent on things and would just right. So do I agree with everything LeBron says? No. Do I wish the Lakers would trade him? Probably, right? Just because they're old, right? And I like Westbrook and I like Anthony Davis, and that's we can get into a whole different thing. But at this point in time, he's an incredible talent. He makes a lot of money for the league. He makes a lot of money for the Lakers, and he makes a good living for himself. Sells tickets.
But I think it's good that we shine light on the ignorance of statements about race and how you said it makes for good television. So thank you for the good television with the ignorant comments about race. I don't think that it's only about people of color, which is the reason why we're having this show.
Correct.
Racism, it involves white on white, white to Jew, whatever, if it's that type of mentality. So,
but again,
thanks for the good television.
But again, and I'll leave you with this, and if you haven't heard what has been said, I will leave you with this. What happened in the Holocaust is gross, is inhumane, is racist, but that's not the way it was taught. It was taught that it was Nazis against Jews. It was not a white on white crime, right? And we didn't know about all the other people that were tucked in there. We just knew about the Jewish people. So
it's an interesting differential that isn't made in that situation, that is made, or that doesn't happen when it's minorities, though.
That is correct.
We wouldn't say it's light skins versus the dark skins. We would say black on black.
Black on black.
And that's how we look at Chicago.
So stick around, folks, because, well, shoot. Here at 1, we've got the Neighborhood Pulse. At 3, In the Know with Steph and Joe. And let me tell you that I appreciate everybody out there listening. Please, please, please go out to our YouTube page, 216 The Net. Like and subscribe. Ring the bell, and you'll be notified when we go on there. We're pushing for 1,000 subscribers, so anything you can do to help us out, we would absolutely love it. For all of us here, 216 The Net, thanks for getting caught in the net. Thanks for bridging civil tension with us. And remember, just be a good human being.
Please.
Let's play
open your mouth before you open your mouth.
Oh, yeah, let's do that. Here, let's play us out. There we go.